Bully, the new album by Kanye West. This album has been announced for over a year now, with snippet tracks leaking all the way back in 2024. The rollout to the album has also been a tedious one, in classic Kanye fashion. The album had several different drop dates, and then the final one, which was supposed to be on Friday, was also missed, with the album then being released on a Saturday. Personally, I haven't really been paying attention to the rollout, and the reason for why can basically be summed up to two different things. One, Kanye's insane controversies over the past 2 years. Yes, he did apologize, but honestly, I really did feel like the scale of these controversies was so large that they couldn't be as easily forgiven through just one apology. And I even saw rumors at one point that the apology was just purely because of the rollout for this album, for it to go as well as it possibly could. It wasn't even sincere, which honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that was true in some way. But then the second reason why is because Kanye's output for the time that he was going through his insane controversies was extremely disappointing and honestly tainted his entire discography for me. So the only question left in my mind was, is Bully going to be another mid Kanye album, another one that taints his discography? Is it going to be part of the same era that Vultures was, which in my opinion is the dark era of Kanye? That's how I would like to call it. And in my opinion, the answer is yes. And also, we need to talk about how far the glazing for this album has gotten, even though the quality is nowhere near Kanye's previous work. Look, when I booted up the album and King started playing, I was a bit excited too. I was hopeful. The song features some very nice, grimy production, and Kanye's lyrics and performance come off as pretty confident too. Although, with just a few further listens, I can hear the problems already on this track, which turn out to be present throughout the entire tracklist. For example, Kanye has developed this very nasty, like sleepy tone in his performances throughout this dark Vultures era, which I heavily dislike. It sounds like AI-ish. Kanye just sounds very uninterested when he does it, and this is a bit present on this track as well, especially in the second verse. Then we have the progression of the track, which just isn't as interesting as good Kanye songs tend to be. This is probably the reason why the song is only 2 minutes long. It's probably the fact that it's a bit unfinished, which is a very poignant point for this album, unfinished tracks. And then on top of all of this, we have the fact that this track just doesn't live up to Kanye's standards previous to like 2020. This is just an okay track from Kanye's Vultures era. It's just a dolled up version of everything he's done in the past. It's not innovative in any way, like every single Kanye release was up until 2020. And it's just kind of okay, it's acceptable, but it's not anything supremely interesting. So, with all that being said, you can hear problems on track one here if you listen closely enough or if you listen enough times. Yet, we have so many music reactors on Twitter and YouTube and even Kanye fans that just fail to see this throughout the entire album, even though it's on track one. Like, please put this track in Graduation or in any like very influential and impactful Kanye album, and it will be possibly the weakest track on there. Like, this track is not up to Kanye's previous standards. It's clear that most people that are commentating on this album are either completely new fans, post 2020 Kanye fans, fake fans, or for some weird reason, they have their standards set very low for Mr. Neo Nazi fascist Kanye, has been making trash music for like 2, 3 years now. Following this, though, we have the track This a Must, which is just very clearly Kanye hopping on a rage beat for the sake of being trendy and potentially getting a hit, even though he's never gonna get a hit because the track is completely unfinished. It's 1.5 minutes. It's nothing. Kanye doesn't even sound enthused to be hopping on a beat like this. He's just doing it because why not? Why not have a rage cut on your album in 2026? I would very much pair this track with the track Circles later down the album, which is literally just like a very mid Don Toliver track. It's completely unfinished once again, and it's just for the sake of having Don Toliver on his album. It's not really that great. It's just kind of new trap fan bait, essentially. But oh, don't get it twisted. These by far aren't the worst tracks on this track list. We're just getting to it. Next, we have the track Father with Travis Scott, which I could classify as a highlight on here. It's not a bad track. The mutual synergy between Travis and Kanye is what really makes the track. They have some decent flows, although both have a questionable bar or two, like the EpiPen bar, the Crack Pen bar. These just kind of stick out as, I don't know, annoying. Overall, though, this is very much like a Yeezus era Kanye track, which personally then isn't even my favorite Kanye era, but I guess if it was placed on that album, it would be one of the better tracks there. It also just makes sense as a track, given that Travis worked with Kanye on Yeezus, which is why he fits into place here. It's not a bad track, it's pretty decent. But now we have a 3-track run on this album, which is possibly the most notorious out of the entire track list. People have been commenting on every single track from here. We have All the Love, which has kind of been classified as the best track on here, and in my opinion, it just sucks ass. Kanye's vocals on the track are absolutely atrocious, especially in the chorus. I cannot tell how people miss this when they listen to this track. The track features some very odd production. There's like black skinhead era Kanye drums on it, which are like really punchy. But then the actual track is like graduation slash 808s era Kanye. Like it's very hopeful and motivational in like a pretty nasty way. It all mixes together horribly. The only reason why I see how people like this track is because it's the longest here. It's the most finished here, if you could call it that. But like, there are so many issues here. It's just a complete clusterfuck. It's not a good track at all. However, the track Punch Drunk is probably my favorite on the album, actually. I just love how busy the instrumental on this track is. The sample work is so packed together that even though the track is less than 2 minutes long, it feels complete. It feels finished. It just feels like you've had enough of the track by the end of it, and in a good way. Kanye's vocals are also of note here. Towards the beginning, they're melodic, they're nice. And possibly the thing that makes this track really stick out to me as my favorite is the lyrics on here. Kanye's political commentary is actually much smarter and more nuanced and more empathetic than anything that he's been doing in the past 2 years. It's the complete opposite of that. And I would say he's kind of going back to like college dropout era commentary with this track. He's talking about innocent men and women being failed by the system, everybody being failed by the system. It's nice. It's like I really got hope when listening to this track for the first time, but the rest of the album just doesn't match up, unfortunately. We then have the track Whatever Works. Again, we have like an early Kanye era type of track here, but this track is just not special enough for me for it to be like a highlight. This is probably the best track, which I can use as an example for what I said earlier, where like if you place the track on any of the first 3 Kanye albums, it'll be one of the weakest tracks on there. It's really not that interesting. Kanye's hook, whatever works, works, whatever works, works. It's not really that ambitious, enthusiastic in any way like the first 3 albums. Like the sample is sweet, but you really have to be a naive Kanye fan to think this is one of his better tracks. You have to have not heard any of his discography for you to think that. This is also the point in the album where I kind of start to feel like you're not really getting the boldness and the confidence from Kanye's songwriting for the political commentary that he's making here to truly reverse and undo what he's been doing, the commentary he's been making for the past 2 years in the public eye. And I do sort of feel that way about the production and the music itself as well, in a way. Then the track Mama's Favorite has a pretty sweet um, passage from Kanye's mom, Donda, towards the end, which I thought was pretty nice. I'm not gonna complain too much about the track. However, I definitely will do that for the track Sisters and Brothers, which has this awful, awful synth or whatever it is that fans have noted it sounds like a bee. In my opinion, it sounds like a mosquito. It's completely off putting. It ruins the entire track. Not to mention the track underneath isn't even that great anyway. Complete non starter, one of the worst tracks here. And to be honest, issues like this, like mixing issues, unfinished tracks, really make me wonder what the hell is it that makes it excusable for Kanye to have these stupid rollouts that just annoy everybody and to still put out like tracks like this? What makes that okay and passable for Kanye specifically? Like, I understand he has a great discography, but please be real for a second if you're a Kanye fan. Then we have the title track, which is probably the second worst here. It's terrible. Kanye's trying to paint himself as like a supervillain on this track, and the production sounds like it. It's super cringe, honestly. Like, you're not a supervillain. You've been saying insane, unhinged shit for the past 2 years, and you've apologized. Why are you painting yourself like this? It's like, it's corny. Not to mention the track, like, it's just annoying as hell. The production is annoying, and the CeeLo Green feature is trash. It's annoying. This is like a classic Kanye ego trip song, kind of like Power was back in the MBTF days, but like just so much worse, done in like a cartoonish, corny, cringy way. There's nothing appealing about this track, and especially in 2026 after everything that's happened with Kanye. Then once again, we reach kind of like a grace point in the album with Preacher Man and Beauty and the Beast. People haven't been commentating on these tracks as much, mostly because they've been released for a while now, like over a year now, and Kanye hasn't really done anything new to them. But in my opinion, these are some of the better tracks on the album, especially Beauty and the Beast. As unfinished and as demo-y as the track is, these are some of the most beautiful Kanye vocals we've ever really heard. The track is quaint, it's nice, it's unique, it couldn't really fit in with any other Kanye era, which is something that I really enjoy about the track. Kanye is also being more poetic and tender in this track than usual. It's sweet. It's not the best thing I've ever heard from Kanye, but still, it's a highlight on the album for sure. And then Preacher Man, I like it a bit less just because, again, the progression on the track isn't that great. Like, the track maybe could have used like a feature or something new. It truly like gets going towards the end when the track is already about to finish. Like, it reaches a culmination, it reaches its full potential in the last 30 seconds. So yeah, that's unfortunate, but the sample work is pretty nice. The track is in the better half of the album, I would say that. Then we have Damn, which, I mean, holy shit, is Kanye singing bad on this track. Like, melodic stuff has never been Kanye's superpower, but like, he did do something on Beauty and the Beast. Why can he do something better on this track? Like, the opening slash hook of the song is garbage. Damn, damn, damn. It's so tedious, it's so annoying. Once again, just no structure anywhere here. This is where I need to remind everybody that the problems that I listed originally in the first track, King, like unfinished tracks, boring, sleepy vocals, and non innovative songs, these issues have remained throughout the entire album. Every single song, like every single song, has at least one or two of these issues involved in it. And then finally, we have the track Last Breath, which is the shittiest, worst track here. It follows this awful trend that Drake has been on for some reason lately, where there just has to be like a Latin Spanish singing track on the album. Except when Drake does it, it's like at least a little bit goofy and silly and maybe a little bit funny. But when Kanye does it, he also doesn't know how to speak Spanish. And oh my god, these vocals are atrocious on the opening verse. Like, this is completely unacceptable. Again, similar to maybe like Sisters and Brothers, the track at its core, beyond just the worst elements, isn't really that great either. Peso Pluma's feature is mid. I don't even like him that much as an artist. So maybe that's just bias then, I guess. But still, oh my god, the singing is awful. Fuck this trend, I need it to end immediately. And then I'm not even gonna talk about the last track. Complete non-starter, mid as hell. I've just given up by the time we get the last breath. Yeah, if you're out there glazing this album, please just consider listening to some good music. Cleanse your ears with some good music, then come back and understand what I'm talking about. I will say, I guess I do agree with the sentiment that this tracklist is better than Vultures 1 and 2, that it's better than Down the 2, but like these were such low bars to pass for this album Like, the track list isn't even that much better. It doesn't match up to any Kanye classics. But if I am trying to leave on a positive note, I guess there is some slight hope here that Kanye isn't completely washed like we thought he was for a couple of years now, and that maybe in a few years he could actually come to us with a decent album. Worst track here is Last Breath. Best track, I guess, Punch Drunk. Overall, I guess I'm feeling like a decent to strong 3, decent 3, and that's about it.